Om Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Ishvaro Guratmeti Motiveda Vibhagine Vyomabda Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Sava Vedanta Sedanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Satguru Pranatoshmaham Om Shanti 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 Om Namaste. Welcome, my dear friends, to our Drsya. We are still on the topic of meditation. Does anybody have any insights or questions or something to share about the last couple of classes on meditation? Okay. We have seen the verse 27. As in the heart, in any outside object, also first meditate, associate with the seen object. That meditation is the separation of the nama-rupa from pure existence. So then the last verse we have covered was the 27. It says, as in the heart, meaning to say in our inner world, our mental world, the world of thoughts and feelings. So as in the heart, likewise, when we can also meditate outside, we are going to be meditating, associate with what we see. So when we see what? We see a name, a shape, a form, and a color. The eyes can capture color and forms, okay? And then the mind attributes a name according to the utilitarian value of whatsoever we see. So it says here that we should meditate also outside. We just take what we see to be the name and form, and then we discard the name and form, and then we take the existence of whatsoever we see. We take the existence as the only non-dual existence, the only reality. So that is the trick that we can do, meditating on the thoughts in our inner world, the subtle objects of our mental subjective reality, experience. We can meditate on that, or we can just allow the sense organs to connect the sense objects. As we know, we have 5 sense organs, but the most challenging are the eyes, and what we hear as well, because the heard is very impacting. Let's say what we smell is not a big deal. What we touch and what we taste is not such of a big deal to provoke violent reactions in the mind. But what we hear, if somebody insults us, that can produce a great disturbance in the mind, okay? And then likewise, if we see something which is violent, that may provoke also great negative impact on the mind. So we have to watch on those two sense instruments and the connection they have with the world of words and the world of forms and colors. Okay, so we see something and then we say, okay, this is just a nama-rupa superimposed in the existence of Brahman, and I am this Brahman. Everything is just Brahman. The nama-rupa is just a magic show produced by the powerful, the trickest Maya, as we know. So this is the bottom line. We have 3 meditations dealing with the inner and with the outer, going through the physical and objects, and then going through the the words and in respect to the objects, and then the thoughts in respect of this outer object. Likewise, in the inner world, we can go from the most dense to the most subtle. So it's very simple after all. It's basically we have to resolve whatsoever inner object occurs through the mind. The mind is nothing but reflected consciousness producing thoughts. And then this inner world has to be resolved into consciousness. And the outer world needs to be resolved in existence. That is the simple key here. You understand? The outer world, more easily we resolve it into existence, because there is only one Satchitananda of a non-dual nature, one existence appearing with numberless Namarupas. So, and then in the inner world, we are dealing with what? We are dealing with some mental phenomenon, which is an aspect, the chit aspect of Brahman. And then we need to resolve those objects in consciousness, because they are happening within the scope of consciousness. They are being reflected in the mind, which is the reflected consciousness. You understand? So we resolve into existence the outer world, we resolve into consciousness our inner world. Then in this passage says, the internal samadhi and the external samadhi, the methodology is the same. The thought was first focused on, and then from the thought, awareness present in the thought was arrived and focused upon. Similarly, in this external samadhi, any external object can be taken as a pointer, as an advertisement. So you take any object, and then from the object we discard the Namarupa, and then we take the existence or the Atma or Brahman. It is suggested that it's better to take on an object towards which one does not have strong likes and dislikes. So if we start meditating on a physical object, and our goal is to see the Namarupa, and then have the subtlety, the intellectual subtlety, to resolve the Namarupa into the existence of Brahman. So in order to do that, the mind has to be very subtle, very contemplative, very sattvic. If by any chance is an object that produces incredible attraction, you understand, the mind is going to lose its subtlety, because it's dealing with an object which is an incredible temptation. You understand? The mind is going to be disturbed, and now we're going to be able to convert the Namarupa into pure existence. So likewise, if the object is an object that produces a sense of repulsion or aversion or fear, then it's going to disturb the mind, and it's going to make it difficult for us to have the Sattva Guna to convert that object into pure existence, Brahman's existence. So it's better to have an object that does not trigger much like and dislike. It's like watching a movie and concentrate on the screen, not on the pictures of the move. So not much fun to watch a move, concentrate on the screen, as we know. We need to keep into the perspective both. So, it's just a project. But it's so much fun. Let me go in and just. I remember a friend of mine that he used to say. He lived in the United States. When he was too much worried, he used to say, I want just to forget myself, to lose myself in a movie, And he was American, typical American, that watched many TVs, many hours of TV and many movies. He had a huge library from the old days of those those. It was not DVDs. It was those big things, you know. So he was a movie lover, and he said, "No, if I'm in trouble, I just take a movie, and then I enter the movie, and then I lose myself, and the entire universe and my problems they had solved." So it is a trick, but my observation is that it prevents people to really work on their challenge, you know, because if you keep going that take refuge on a parallel reality in which I join, you know, and then I forget my own reality as a person, you know, it may produce karmic indigestion, as we know, because we need to keep processing karma, not to suffer indigestion. So same thing, internal object, external object, both are going to serve as an aid to point to the existence consciousness. After separating Namarupa, thus pure existence should be focused on. So how are we going to focus on pure existence, Claudio? Is it something tangible? You see, Vedanta is from what I hear, is the only spiritual philosophy or spiritual school that talks in terms of existence, makes an effort to analyze the nature of existence. What is existence? You understand? So it's very subtle. It's even more philosophical than analyzing the nature of consciousness, because the nature of consciousness can be seen through some parallels with the human consciousness, which the mind, the ego, you understand, the I. Yeah? So we have much more familiarity with the inquiry into the nature of consciousness, but existence. Now, what is existence? You know. So is that which is at all times and of non-dual nature, is the only existence appearing, you know, every time that Maya superimposes Namarupa. In the absence of this superimposition of Anarupa, existence is not verifiable. That is the most amazing thing. We can verify existence only when there is a superimposition of Nama Rupa. Okay, and then what is the nature of existence becomes the most subtle philosophical inquiry possible, you know. And Vedanta, especially with the Panchadas, makes a beautiful effort to analyze the nature of Sat, existence. Okay, the following verse 28, the reality is undivided. It is of one same essence. It is of the nature of Sat Chit, existence, consciousness, and bliss, Sat Chitananda. Such uninterrupted contemplation is meditation of the middle kind. So now he's talking about middle kind, initial kind, and the third kind of meditation. Let's see here in his exposition, the exposition of Swamiji, what he's referring to this middle kind of meditation. So it appears to me that reality is non-dual. It is of one single nature, essence. And this nature is what we call Satchitananda, Brahman. So this is a very powerful contemplation, or nididhyasana. I'm contemplate on the nature of reality as non-duality and a whole, full, and complete, one without a second, therefore free of any limitation. This is the reality, the only reality we experience, or we have access by knowledge within our human experience. So such uninterrupted contemplation is meditation of the middle kind. So it is a meditation on the words of the scripture that reveals the nature of the self, the nature of the I, the nature of the Jiva Atma as Satchitananda. So it's meditation on the words of the scriptures, which are the most powerful words. But let's see here the unfoldment of Swamiji. The first stage is the segregation of existence from the nama rupa and shifting the attention to the existence itself. Thereafter, attention should be focused on the various characteristics or natures of existence or features of existence. Existence, as we know, is not part, product, or property of any nama rupa. Now, this is something that we need to have fixate in our mind when we look into analyze consciousness. Consciousness is not part, product, or property of the mind or of the body-mind complex. And existence, likewise, is not part, product, or property of any namarupa. So you cannot say that the three exists. So meaning to say that existence is a byproduct of the three. No, the three exists due to the grace of existence itself. Yeah? Now the existence is free and independent of the nama rupa called the three. Yeah? So we need to adjust this, and this is a certain kind of meditation that is appreciating these statements of the scripture, such as meditate on the Satchitananda nature of Brahman, which is the undivided Brahman. Meditate on that. So how are you going to meditate on Brahman? You have to remember that Brahman is Satchitananda, and then the more elements you have, such as, and by the way, Brahman is such existence, consciousness, and such and chit. They are not part or product or properties of any other factor. So we need to have these teachings alive so that this contemplation on the Vedantic words, Upanishadic word, can have the power to somehow produce a clear understanding of our true nature. So it's not part. The object has boundary, but existence goes beyond the boundaries. So wherever the tree ends, existence does not end. The limitations of boundary, of space and time, beginning, middle, and the end, the death of the tree, these do not apply to existence itself. Okay, so we have no limitations, spatial or time meditation. The objects are going to appear limited by its boundary, limited by its characteristics, or whatsoever purpose these three produce, the kind of tree, but existence is beyond, it's independent. Beyond the object, existence may not be perceived. So if there is no namarupa, existence is not verifiable, as I mentioned at the beginning today. So without the object may not be perceived existence, not because it's not present, but because there may not be a medium to manifest its namarupa. Okay, so it's so subtle existence. You see, consciousness is very subtle, the most subtle of the subtle. But when we start looking into existence, it's something just so subtle. We can say consciousness is very subtle, but still can be inferred by thoughts. We observe thoughts, and then you infer chit or consciousness or knowingness. But existence, they say, so without the object, it will not be experienceable, the existence, because there is no medium whatsoever. There is no physical medium. There is no subtle medium. There is nothing. Existence is there, and without namarupas, it cannot be verifiable. But existence is all pervading. The object can be counted, but existence cannot be counted because it's an undivided existence. As in Chandogya Upanishad says, in the beginning, my dear, this universe was Sat, existence alone, one only without a second. So beautiful statements from the Chandogya. Yeah? In the beginning of time, in the beginning of the creation, there was only Sat, existence, and then existence manifests through the power of mind, of Maya. The three energies and the entire universe appear superimposed on this existence, this Sat. Pure existence is one undivisible whole. So it is one undivisible whole and one partless whole. So when we have parts, we have divisions. But once we don't have parts, we don't have divisions. So it is a partless, undivisible whole, oneness. Some of the features of pure existence are like all pervasiveness, indivisibility, all embracing, all supporting, relationless, associationless, limitlessness. All of these features of pure existence needs to be remembered during our Nididhyasana, Vedantic meditation, okay? Should be dwelled upon. All these features of Satchitananda. In this case, we are looking at the objects and we are discounting, we are rejecting the Namarupa as reality and take the existence. And then we go through everything we know about our own existence, okay? Which is the existence of everything, one non-dual, undivisible, existence. The pure existence is undivisible, one and whole. The objects of the world have parts, but pure existence does not have parts, just as space does not have parts. And then we have to go and remember the space is the greatest analogy to point to the Sat nature of Brahman. The light is a great analogy to point to the Chit nature of Brahman, consciousness, and the space, that which accommodates all objects in the universe without being touched by the object, is the best analogy to help us to contemplate on our nature as pure existence, okay? Like space, but much more than space, of course, but as an aid, a help, a pointer. The spatial directions like east, west are arbitrarily assigned with reference to the sunrise and the sunset, and they are not absolute. Okay. And now we have these things that he begins on a new class. Again, he makes some reference here to the verse 28. Let me see if there is something new here. 6 types of meditation. 3 are internal and 3 are external. In the internal samadhi, the discipline practiced by meditation is separating the thoughts from consciousness. We practice thought consciousness discrimination, separation, because every thought you experience internally is a mixture of consciousness and the thought of it. Because of Chaitanya consciousness alone, the thought is experienced. A thought cannot be experienced by itself. This is powerful. No thought can be experienced without consciousness. Consciousness, the light, consciousness, the light of the illuminator. We are talking about internal. He's doing a recap on the internal meditations. A thought cannot be experienced by itself. So therefore, we take the thoughts and then we allow the thoughts to be a pointer to the consciousness that is revealing the thought. And then we hold on to consciousness and we let go of the thought. We shift our attention, as we say. Having shifted attention to the consciousness, we dwell upon the features of consciousness as we know. Yeah, what is consciousness? And then we're going to say, oh, consciousness is not this, it's not that, it's not that. It's just, we go by negation, of course, but we can affirm that consciousness, the only positive affirmation about consciousness is, I am that consciousness. Okay. Otherwise, we have to say, it's not this, it's not that, and so on. Each feature is remembered with the help of the scripture teachings, the Shastra Vakyam, that the consciousness is free of relations, eternal, needs to be remembered as the nature. Shifting the attention to consciousness is Drsya, undivided, and dwelling on consciousness with the help of the scripture, the words of Upanishad, is Sabda Anuvadan. He's doing a nice summary recap of what was the sixth meditation. Okay. Then the author talks about the culmination of this samadhi abhyasa, which is nothing but total absorption in that thought. He's going to enter into nirvikalpa samadhi, which is total absorption in that thought without requiring our conscious effort. Because the thought continues in a subconscious mind, that state is called nirvikalpa samadhi, because the conscious mind is no longer operational. In that state, the ego or the I is dormant, because the ego operation requires a conscious, deliberate thought, mind, I am. Thus, the internal meditation leads to the internal nirvikalpa samadhi. Okay, so he continues doing a summary of what was taught. After taking the internal meditation, the author has now come to external meditation, doing the same trick, just seeing the physical object, and then rejecting the name and form, and holding on to the existence as non-dual existence, Sat. We need to shift the attention from the tree to the existence, and never believe that the existence is a property or a byproduct of the tree. I dwell upon the existence once I have shifted my attention to existence by seeing the various features of existence as we have seen. In this meditation, I have to come to one point, which is very important. In internal meditation, we talked about consciousness, and in the external meditation, we talk about existence, as I mentioned today at the beginning of our class. One practices both the internal and the external meditations. When one practices, a misconception may arise. It may be concluded that there is one truth inside, Chit, and another truth outside, Sat. So this is a good inquiry as well. I say, okay, and then there are two realities. The external reality is Sat, the internal reality is Chit, is consciousness. Consciousness and existence. Oh, okay, there is two realities in here, consciousness and existence. So this is a misconception. Sat and Chit may be thought to be different, but that's not so. After dwelling upon existence in the external meditation, I have to tell myself that I am that existence who is in the form of Sakshi in every thought. So you have to collapse existence in consciousness and vice versa until you have a clear understanding that existence and consciousness are like the two wings of the same bird. Okay, the two aspects of something which is limitless in nature, because it's one without a second. So we exist, and in order to exist, we need to be conscious enough to know that I exist. Okay, so I cannot exist without being conscious of my existence, and I cannot be conscious of my existence if I'm not an existing principle. Yeah? So they are not divisible. They are not. They cannot be separated from one another. The existence outside is no difference from the consciousness inside. In truth, the consciousness, it manifests outside as Namarupa as well. It's easier to see Brahman as the Namarupa of the physical material object. But in truth, we can see Chit or consciousness in the physical material object. They are beings, they are inert beings, they were constructed by the power of Chit, consciousness, knowledge, pure sattva. Okay, so we see consciousness also in the physical, inert material world of objects. Consciousness and existence are one and the same. It's just a question of more easily understand the existence of the object, because the objects, the inert objects, we don't see any mental phenomenon appearing, and then it's more difficult to understand that they were made out of consciousness and they are consciousness. Consciousness is within the existence of everything because they are both the same thing. The existence outside is no different from the consciousness I experience inside. I, who obtain as consciousness inside, am the one who obtain as existence inside. There is no difference between Sat and Chit. Chit must exist, and Sat must be a conscious phenomenon. Okay, the existence of Namarupas is all of that comes from a conscious aspect of Brahman that we refer to as Chit, Sat. The difference is only in the name, Sat and Chit. And there are no difference in the essential nature of Sat Chit. There should be this continuous thought flow, this continuous nididhyasana, contemplation, meditation, Vedantic meditation, continuous thought flow without distractions. So this is powerful meditations. You don't find meditation of this level in the world of yoga, in general. So we are meditating on this essential nature of reality, which is my own reality of everything and everyone. So it is power. This Vedanta meditation is a continuous, homogeneous flow of scripture thoughts, of features of reality. And I keep contemplating. There's nothing more powerful than this. All the rest is kindergarten things. Everybody meditating on trying to, to hold on to an idea, concept, or manifest something. This is just kindergarten stuff. Meditate on the true nature of reality is the most powerful sadhana or meditation. But the mind has to be so subtle in order to develop this continuous thought flow around these features of my own nature. This is the ultimate Savikalpa Samadhi, much more superior in terms of its fruition than the yogic Nirvikalpa Samadhi, because here you are awake, your intellect is present, alert, sattvic, and you are contemplate on your true nature, in the light of this scriptural revelation. It's beautiful, beautiful stuff. I don't know about you, but I mean, I can't understand how people come to Vedanta and then they step back and go back to, other, but it's understandable sometimes. People, they come and then they say, oh, okay, no, it's too subtle. I'm not benefiting. Let me go to something a little denser, a little more tangible, because I need to stabilize my mind. I need to improve my mind or something like that. Verse 29. The total stillness within within due to the experience of bliss is the third kind of meditation as described previously. One should always spend time in the practice of these 6 meditations. So he's wrapping things up here. And now he's in this verse, he says the total stillness within due to the experience of bliss, is the third kind of meditation as described in the previously. We are moving into Nirvikalpa Samadhi, this total stillness, powerful experience of bliss, is going to take the person into that Nirvikalpa Samadhi. So what is this Nirvikalpa Samadhi? When conscious mind deliberately entertains this thought flow regarding existence and also sees the identity with that existence as I am this non-dual existence. In the subconscious mind, picks up the same thought. So you are doing this meditation, this Vedantic Nididhyasana, okay, and you are there and you are contemplate, you develop this flow, this homogeneous flow of thoughts around the future of consciousness. And then I'm looking into the existence of everything. And then in my subconscious mind, that effort develops. Then the subconscious mind continuously entertains that thought without effort. The conscious effort or the will of the meditator is required at the beginning, and then comes a point that it's no longer required because it went into the subconscious mind, okay, or the causal body. So the meditation is no longer present, making its effort as a meditator contemplating on the features of existence, for example. So it's no longer there, and then it gets absorbed in Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Exactly. This conscious effort or the will of the meditator is no longer required. And then he gives a nice analogy here. He says it is exactly as we experience the worries, So we have something going, and then that produces a concern, and a concern becomes a worry and a preoccupation, and then it can grow. It can become so big that after some time, I don't even need to remember consciously my worries. So the worries, they have a life on their own. They continue. Subconsciously, I became a worried entity, without any effort. It's just I'm in samadhi with my worry. Okay. This leads to Nirvikalpa Samadhi, state in which the subject-object vision is no longer felt, because the conscious mind is not conscious anymore, prominent. The division is not absent. However, to feel the division, conscious mind is required. The division, meditator and object of meditation, in this case, the words of the scripture. To feel that division, the conscious mind is required. Naturally, the thought that is happening in the subconscious mind is called sukshma vritti, subconscious vritti. We are never aware of that kind of vritti when it is happening. In sleep also, there is a sort of nirvikalpa state in which the subject-object division is not felt, but there is a certain vritti that allows me in retrospection to say, I have experienced, okay, the non-division. I'm not experiencing anything. There is a blankness. So during the experience of deep sleep, these vrittis, sukshma, subtle in nature, called Karana Shahira Vritti, subconscious vrittis, several names for the. Okay, my internet dropped for a moment. So there are several names for these for this meditation that conduces the mind into no division, the experience of Nirvikalpa Samadhi. And there is a subconscious vrit there. How does one know that vrit is present in deep sleep, for example? After waking up, I'm able to recollect that I did not have any object of experience. I had no division. I had the experience of non-duality, absence of experience. Although absence of experience is itself a form of experience, and that experience is also registered in the subconscious mind in a rich form in the nirvikalpa deep state. Okay, so you see the similarities of deep sleep and nirvikalpa samadhi. There is a subconscious rich in there. The momentum of the effort, carried on unconsciously, subconsciously, the same way the worries, they grow to become subconscious. And then there is an undercurrent of a certain rich, subconscious worry that is conditioning my experience. In this case, it's not worry. The words, the contemplation on the features of my nature as conscious existence, they are there. And then in that effort, there is a deep stillness, deep silence and peace. And then the division may occur. And then there is still a certain subconscious reach there, similar to the case in deep sleep, that is going to recollect that experience of bliss, of non-duality, or blankness. But Vedanta comes and says, okay, but how do you know that you have experienced no object? If you say, I have experienced no object, so it indicates that there was a certain experience in there, okay? Why? Because I'm saying that I have experienced no object. I have experienced no division. I have experienced no separation. And how you know that you experienced? Oh, I was there and I experienced and I enjoyed it greatly. I cannot enjoy things unless I experience and appreciate. Therefore, I was there, I experienced, and I experienced the absence of tangible objects, as I often put. But that experience of absence of tangible objects is identical of experience of an empty hall or empty room. When you say, oh, I am in the hall, in the room, and I am experiencing nothing, there is nobody, there is no thing in here. But when you say, I experience no thing, I experience only space, still there is a duality there, experiencer and object of experience. So the subconscious rich nirvikalpa samadhi is there having a certain experience. And this experience, Vedanta says, is still within duality. So therefore, never take blankness or emptiness to be the ultimate non-dual reality, because the emptiness, the blankness, the void is occurring within consciousness. There is consciousness and an object of experience referred to as blankness or emptiness or nothingness. You understand, Claudio? So it's not the ultimate reality. The ultimate reality is the conscious existence, illumining and revealing the empty space, the void. Okay, the same way as in deep sleep, in nirvikalpa samadhi, the thoughts are registered in the mind and recollected later on. Even though the vrittis are not recognized at the time of samadhi. So at the time of samadhi, at the time of deep sleep, those recollections are not available. Recollections comes later on when the mind becomes again conscious, and then it recollects a certain experience. It's vague, it's abstract, but it's highly appreciated, and this indicates that there was definitely an experience in there. Nirvikalpa Samadhi is a state of absorption in which the Vedantic scriptural teachings continue in a subtle subconscious form, as in the internal meditation. In the external meditation also, the combination is Nirvikalpa Samadhi after the two Sabvikalpa Samadhi. The natural absorption of the mind. Now he's saying that also on the external meditation. So you start seeing the namarupas, and then you just resolve the namarupa in existence itself, and then you contemplate on the features of existence, and then the mind may become so still, that the division between myself and my object of contemplation may cease. The meditator and the object of meditation, contemplation, may cease, and then one moves into Nirvikalpa Samadhi by beginning from experience the namarupas of physical material objects that are resolved into pure existence, which can produce a very, very subtle and silent and blissful mind, which may conduce or not into Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Nirvikalpa Samadhi is not really the key here, Nirvikalpa Samadhi is just total absorption when this division, this desire to experience something in meditation is also gone, It's a small cherry on the cake, as we say in the USA. The natural absorption of the mind on the ahamdakara vritti takes place because of the enjoyment of Vedantic meditation. Very nice. So why are you going to merge into this Nirvikalpa state? Okay, because you have a certain contemplation, and then you have such a value, such a pleasure. It gives you so much joy, and gratification, that your whole attention produces this absorption, because you are fascinated with your true nature as Brahman, as existence. The nature absorption of the mind, it takes place because of the incredible enjoyment, which the words of descriptions in this Vedantic meditation produce. So we never stay with something unless it offers us an incredible source of ananda, joy. So we know that if we stay with something that does not produce this incredible joy, we can't stay much longer. We end up, change and say, okay, I leave it here and then I move to something else. So when we fall in love, when we are young, we find so much enjoyment, joy, and ananda in the other. The mind becomes absorbed in the other. You understand? The mind wants only to think about that object of ananda, which is the other. It does not last much long. A lot of trouble comes with that kind of absorption. And many babes come as well. Oh, he really goes on here doing this. Okay. The words are used in some other contexts, also in totally different meaning. In Mandukya Karika, when Vedantic meditation is talked about, Rasasvada experiencing the Ananda in meditation is given as an obstacle to meditation. In this verse, they also says that the absorption is caused because of the enjoyment of this meditation. Ananda is the cause for Nirvikalpa Samadhi, it says in here. And in the Mandukya, it says that the Ananda is going to be an obstruction. So if you stop at the experiential Ananda, and then it is an obstruction, because you remain there in duality, experience bliss, experience ananda. So you experience a certain mental state that could become a hindrance. But when you go all the way, you understand that all love we have is the love for the self, as we say. We love what we love in this world of nama rupas because it gives us ananda. The moment that an object of pleasure turns to be an object of displeasure, immediately we reject that object. We see this in relationships very often. Okay, so we love things and people for the sake of my own self-love. I love myself and I want to please this self. So when we understand that the power that I have is the power that draws me, that pulls me to my nature as the most incredible source of ananda, of joy, satisfaction. It is a magnet pull, okay, that may conduce the person into self-knowledge and may conduce the person in Nirvikalpa Samadhi with or without self-knowledge, okay? So different Upanishads or texts presenting this experience of Ananda as an obstacle and as a source, a power that compels you towards this union. Union is a very trick word. This realization or absorption. So which one of these texts are correct? Both are correct. The word rasa has two different meanings. Ananda is divided into two kinds of ananda. Pratyabimba ananda, the reflect ananda, the experiential ananda that can be an obstacle, which happens in the mind as a result of quietude in meditation. So when the mind is very sattvic, we experience this reflected ananda. Does this reflect ananda is gone once the meditation is over, when the mind modifies, okay? And then some more rajas and tamas come into play, and then the mental state is modified, and this ananda goes. And then the individual, they remain with a huge vasana or desire for more of that same ananda. This reflect ananda can be a bondage if one gets addicted to it, okay? One gets addicted to it. I was getting addicted to it. Fortunately, I understood the difference between knowledge and the experience, and I walked away from it. Some of you may have heard me say, when I walked away, I said, I will never meditate again in my life. It was such a resolve, and I never meditated again in my life. Even when I was doing some of these seminars with Ramji, every time he would propose a guided meditation, I would escape, because I used to find I had such a vasana of aversion towards meditation. I said, what? This and this, to calm the body, calm the legs, calm. This is, we are here with Vedanta, So anyhow, it may become addictive. For this reason, Gaudapada in his Karikas criticized this Rasasdavada. Here in this verse on Drsya, this rasa is talked about, is not reflected consciousness, reflect ananda, but it is the original ananda, which is not an object of experience, but it's available for recognition and claiming, as we say. So in this verse, we are talking about the original Nanda, which is not experiential. Okay, this original Nanda is my own nature. It's always present and available for recognition, knowledge, and claim. Oh, no, but I want to experience. If you experience, it's going to come and go, because the nature of an experience is coming and going, beginning, middle, and end. Okay, so any experience is time bound. If you want to know the true Ananda, you have to know it on not on the experiential level, but on the jnana, the knowledge level. But it's not available for experience. Who cares about experience? I care about knowledge of my true nature. You understand? So this is the original Ananda, which is available to be claimed. The original Nanda never changed, irrespective of the conditions of the mind. What is this original Nanda that never changed? Is the knowledge in respect of my non-dual nature as conscious existence. And the fact that I am Satya and none of these things in nature can impact my true nature. So you understand Satya, you understand nature, you know that your true nature is the only source of Ananda. And this Ananda is limitlessness, okay? And you are limitless. And then you have this confidence, this certainty that nothing in nature can really touch you. And this is the greatest form of Ananda, because it's available at all times, because knowledge is that which is always good once it's clear and firmly retained and fully available at all times. So this original Ananda never changes, and it is my very own nature, and it's always present. I just need to claim. The original Ananda never changes, irrespective of the conditions of my mind. That's very interesting statement. The original Ananda never changes, even if my mind turns to become more sattvic or tamasic. The original Ananda is never changed, because the knowledge, when it's hard and fast, when it's clear and firm, so no matter, I mean, you can come to old age, develop a very tamasic mind, but the knowledge is all the time there. Such is the power of knowledge. You can become an old man of 110 years, and yet, if people ask you 2 + 2 equal, and you say 4, this is a firm, clear, and hardwired knowledge. So knowledge, once it's firm, it's always there. So the original Ananda never changes, irrespective of the conditions of the mind. The conditions of the mind are going to produce varying degrees of experiential Ananda. And no, but I am for experience. 99.99% of the spiritual world will say it doesn't matter. Okay, I am here for experience, and I want the spiritual Ananda, the experiential Ananda. This is such a hard one, Claudio. This is so difficult to develop a value for what the Upanishads are pointing to. Is something that very few people can really grasp the value of this knowledge, understand? So the mind is going to produce all these priya, moda, and pramoda, varying degrees of bliss, satisfaction, and they come and go, and sooner or later it turns into a pain in the butt, you know, into experience of pain. Yeah? Worries, concerns, samsara as well, once you suspend. And even if you are yogi and you're all the time meditating, is still nobody likes to experience a certain Ananda that is a byproduct of my efforts and my mental state. Why? Because my effort and my mental state depends on time, depends on Maya. A time may come that I may not have the sattva guna to produce that Ananda, experiential Ananda. With old age, usually the experiential Ananda may go. You understand? So, and then I'm here to be free. I'm here to realize my nature and be out of here, not caught up with actions and the results of actions, my efforts and the fruition of my effort. I'm here to be free. You understand? And you are never going to be free if you rely on experiential ananda. No? So the mind will change. The knowledge needs to be there. Once it's there, irrespective of the conditions of my mind. This claiming of my original nature as limitless or Ananda is Atmananda. Very beautiful. It's called Rajashvada in this verse. We see this text of Vedanta. It's such a beauty, such a depth, such a, I don't know if you guys are as crazy with Vedanta, fanatic as I am, but it's such a blessing to have these things. Okay, so I love this class. Even if tomorrow I have only Claudio, only Lina, I'm going to keep doing that because it's such a treat to go through these Vedantic words. You understand? The word está vibhava is in its synonym. Kazaya are used in Vedanta Sara, in Mandukya Karika, respectively, as an obstacle to meditation. In this verse, it's favorable, it's positive for meditation. Vedanta Sara and Mandukya Sara. In other words, this incredible value for self-knowledge, the knowledge of my nature as limitlessness is the ultimate love, it's the ultimate bhakti or desire or attraction, for the understanding of my true nature. This is the Ananda, the original Ananda that's pulling me, to that realization. It's going to immobilize the mind because, let me see here, in Vedanta Sara, in the Mandukya Kara, the same word is used to indicate the stirring or immobilization of the mind because of impurities in the subconscious mind. And this results in the inability to concentrate in Vedantic meditation. In this state, there are no Atma or Anatma vrittis. Okay, so we're going to stop here. I'm not physically, energetically in good health. I better save my energy tomorrow. Weekend I have class in Portuguese. And I could carry on if I wouldn't have much what to do, but I have a lot of things to do besides teaching Vedanta as well. So we meet again next Monday with Panchadasi, and I'm looking forward to get back to the Drsya. Anything from you guys?
I think you said we were going to meet Tuesday.
Absolutely, Tuesday, and I'm going to send an email. Thank you to confirm that. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purna Purnamudachyate Purna Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, my friends. We meet again this coming Tuesday with Panchadas. Namaste.
Thank you. Ciao, ciao.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye now.
Bye. Bye, Lynn.